Hi, this is Tracy, and I wanted to take a moment to film my debt story. I tried to do this yesterday, and it ended up being like an hour and 9 minutes. And I'm not the most technically savvy when it comes to filming with my phone, and so I had the little black bars on the side. And so I said I would try to do this a little bit shorter and at a place where I didn't have to worry about dogs, but still try to get my steps. So you're gonna see the same scenery, but it's because I'm gonna walk back and forth in a certain area. Ooh, so sorry about the finger in front of the camera. But I wanted to go on and say, first things first, it takes a lot for me to say this, but back in the fall of 2007, me and my sons were homeless. I worked a full-time job. It was just like this perfect storm came, and I wasn't prepared for anything. I've always felt like with money, it's always been one fire after another, and I can never be prepared. I'm always putting out one fire after the other one. And I have a son who was really sick. Every year he was sick because he had severe allergies. And in Memphis, things, I don't even know the word, they grow almost year round because it's not ever really, really cold here as it is. And you have 4 seasons in some places, and I think we have 2. We don't have the 4. But anyway, with that, I was married, and by 2007, I had been divorced almost 7 years. Yes, I was awarded child support. No, I didn't receive it. I still have it. My kids are grown. I don't even look for it. And it's a part of the past. I just don't even care anymore, if that's a proper word to use. It's just apathy is the way I feel. I have no feelings whatsoever because my job was always to take care of my kids. And I felt like at this point, I felt like a failure. I had moved us into an apartment that I thought was affordable, but it was constantly getting broken into. And when you're a single parent, people know your schedules because your kids thrive on the schedule, and so you have one. And so I would have these schedules, and I would work as much as I could, pick up my children, come back home, and my door would be hanging off the hinges. And it just all came to a head because I was just to the point where I was actually choosing between paying a light bill and eating, and paying a light bill and buying my son's medication, eye drops costing $100, not even for an ounce, in these little teeny bottles. So it was a very stressful time in my life, and I still went to work every day. I remember us going to the hotel and me sitting there with my $200 trying to figure out how I was going to make it and pay the hotel bill for another week and buy food. How my kids would catch the bus to get to the hotel and what time I could get there, because I was working in a different part of town that was far from the hotel. And then I go outside to go take the kids to go get something to eat to bring back to the hotel room so we have breakfast and things, and my car doesn't start. And I remember just trying to hold it together in front of my sons and just wanting to just walk off of something because it was humiliating and embarrassing. And I can't believe I just admitted that, but I did. But that night I called the Salvation Army, and they had a shelter, and they took us in because I knew I couldn't make it, and I told the lady everything. And they were gracious. They took me and my sons in. I was able to get the car towed, and then eventually towed to the dealership to get it fixed. A co-worker loaned me her car for a few days while they fixed my car. And I worked like a crazy woman when I could while I was at that shelter to pay off the $200 and something I owed in back rent and my utilities there. And I would bring in my receipts and talk to my caseworker and things like that. And we eventually moved to a transition housing program in Memphis. Excuse me, I'm outside and my allergies are bothering me. In Memphis, that I still support today. Both of them I try to make donations because they saved me when I couldn't save myself. And I felt so bad during that time. And during this period of time, I was working a job which was pretty much a dead end. It was not a good environment. It was very negative. And I made about $10,000 less than my coworker. I refused to be a victim because of my race or because of my sex. So I said, let's not look at this and say because you're black, you're being paid $10,000 less. Let's look at this for a fact on paper. She has a degree and you don't. You need to go back to school. So up until this point, I probably had $12,000 to $14,000 in student loans from when I tried to go back before. And my youngest son used to get sick all the time and I had to stop. I kept trying. I wasn't withdrawing in a timely fashion. I'm not saying in any way, shape, form, or fashion was I a responsible person. I'm not going to lie to anybody about that because I don't feel like I was responsible. I always tried to say, oh, I can do it. Then I go overwhelmed and I get overwhelmed and then I get depressed and then I'm trying to hide up underneath something to cover up that I screwed up. But that's where I was at 2007 and going into the transitional housing program. January 2008, the semester starts and the counselor was like, why don't you apply for graduate student family housing at the University of Memphis? And I did. I was waitlisted at first and then I got a letter saying that they had an opening and if I was still interested I could come in and get an apartment. And I think I had called someone first and then I went in and finally I had an address. And this was about maybe 3 months, but things were starting to look up. And when you're used to having nothing, you operate like that. And everything was fine. And I graduated from the University of Memphis with my master's degree in 2011, May of 2011. And so all I did was work. It was 2 jobs outside of 2 or 3 months when I quit my other job, took a lower paying job working at the help desk to get me into an IT field. That's what I did. I did internships. I did whatever I could to support myself and my kids. But my student loans from that time period covered not just tuition, but it also covered my room and board for a townhouse. And I think I only covered utilities. So cable and internet were included. And so it included all those things. And that's what mine covered. So when I graduated, I remember seeing that bill was like $60,000, but I was going into a job making $36,000. I hear what the young people make today, and I'm like, whoa, because I had a master's degree and was making less. But I also graduated right after the economic downturn. And so at that point, I was blessed to have a job. A lot of my classmates didn't. And from there, to make my payments, I signed myself up for RBR. And here's my stupidity. My stupidness is I never checked my account. The money was coming out of my checking account. I'm paying on time. I'm looking at things and saying everything's okay. I'm not checking the mailbox on the inside and seeing that I'm not even making whole interest payments, because that's what IBR is. Income-based repayment. You're not covering all of your interest, and so that gets added onto it, and that's the $90,000 in student loan debt that I ended up having to face in 2017. And boy, was it a shock and I could barely breathe. It took me several days, and I'm sorry, the wind just picked up, but it took me several days to even face that was what I had. My credit card debt, I didn't have credit cards when I first went back to school. I think I had one credit card, one charge card, Target charge card, after I graduated, but I used to pay it on time because I was building up my credit. And I still didn't understand budgeting, but I had this Quicken or QuickBooks, I think it was Quicken software, that used to help me, and I felt okay. I still didn't understand budgeting. And then I got this better job at this company, and I'm like, woo! Well, with that came a expectation from my coworkers to be like them, and me being the kid from the small town with the parents that never really held a job, that remember standing in the welfare line getting government cheese, that remembers pushing groceries in a cart and food stamps and being made fun of as a kid, is just like, I gotta fit in. I gotta fit in with everybody else. I have to do what everybody else is doing. And it was the dumbest thing I could have done. Even though I thought, having all these credit cards in my wallet make me look like everybody else. Oh, I gotta get another car because my car that I have is paid for. But they're talking about my car, so I got to upgrade and get another car and get another car note when I didn't have one. And I think that's when the shift hit, and I crossed that point of no return as far as my finances went. And so one day, I want to say 2000, so it was 2017 when I found Dave Ramsey. 2015, I'm getting out of my car and I'm in so much pain I can't move. I don't know which direction it's coming from. I'm standing there wishing somebody would see me and come and help me, and nobody is even here in the office except for the guy on the lawnmower cutting the grass. And I'm just praying that it goes away. And I'm just standing there holding my bag, hurting. I had to leave, go to the doctor's office and wait for them to open. They couldn't tell me what was wrong with me. They sent me to go have an ultrasound because they suspected I had a fibroid tumor. So I go get the ultrasound done, and the look that was on this lady's face, she's asking me all these questions, and I'm kind of like, yeah, no, don't know type deal, and embarrassed because how my body operated was how my mom's body operated, was how my grandmother's body operated. Didn't know something was wrong, and we're not supposed to function like that. Well, she told me she wasn't supposed to tell me, but I had a tumor the size of a tennis ball on my uterus, and that was causing the problems, and I needed surgery. So they sent me to a specialist. She's going to do the surgery, and she's explained everything. But to have the surgery done, I had to pay $1,000 up front. Now remember, I'm the girl who couldn't even save $100. And shoot, forget $150 from one month to the next. And this just seemed insurmountable. I had no money, and my credit cards were not fully maxed out, but they weren't enough to cover the surgery. So I went into like one of these little offices and got a personal loan. They not only gave me a loan for the surgery, but also paid off a couple of my credit cards because I was about to go on leave. And I thank God that that happened. I wish I had been better with my money before because paid all that off. I get my surgery. I don't get my first leave paycheck or whatever it's called for short-term disability. I didn't get that first check until I returned to work. So in that time, I'm behind on my rent, my car insurance lapses, and some car insurance places aren't, they don't work with you. And my car insurance lapsed in the whole 9 yards. And so my thing is, let's get the rent current because I don't want to be homeless again. I don't want to repeat that again. And I did pay all that up out of that check. And I'm like, I'll deal with the car insurance next. The day I get my first paycheck from being back at work, a kid runs a light and totals my car. So I have no insurance. My car is totaled. Their insurance is fighting back and saying, well, you got to cover your own expenses, and I don't even know what my rights are as a consumer. I don't even know. I don't understand what to do. And of course, in true Tracy fashion, I just let things drop